Now, the next update is obviously what Google feels about using AI to write content, because this topic keeps coming back up. So obviously, Google's official stance is that you can use AI to write content as long as it's fine, assuming the content is not written to manipulate the search results. It's useful, helpful, and quality content. Right. However, John Mueller feels differently. Obviously, if you read his responses, which is in the show notes, I'm not going to go into it and make this recording longer. But he comes around someone who is let me see what it is, anti-AI, right? He doesn't like AI content. However, that is not the case. But I will, actually, you know what? I will jump into it. Why not? Just use one example. So this user Vakil Kefari asked him, "Hey, what if I have a website that talks about legal website in Farsi, because he's from Iran, and he's saying, what if I were to create content in English using ChatGPT?" Right, in English, and then use Google Translate to translate it into Farsi, and then put it up on my website. Would that be against Google's guideline? So to that, John Mueller said, if you had an important legal case, would you want your lawyer to use ChatGPT and Google Translate to make the argument before the judge? Very valid point, right? You could probably say John Mueller was being a smarty pants. Okay, but if I were to read between the lines, what John Mueller is saying, look, guy, don't just go to ChatGPT and get your output and translate it into Google, use Google Translate to translate it, and then put it up on your website. Make sure the content is good. You understand the content. You have domain knowledge, so you know what's a good content and what's a bad content, and you ignore it and you modify it, you tweak it, and then you polish it, and then you put it up on there. That's what John Mueller is saying. Even though he comes across, at a surface level, he comes across anti-AI, it's not. Google does support AI. Again, you could probably create crappy content and get by and get indexed, and you could say, woohoo, ChatGPT is the way. You know what? We killed it. We crushed it. In fact, I have seen tons of posts on LinkedIn that talks about it. And in fact, I'm going to dissect a little bit of that in the future on our Market and Grow channel. So make sure you follow Market and Grow channel. You will find some of the stuff there. But what I'm going with this is, like, just because you get by today doesn't mean tomorrow Google is not going to be make an update to their AI, to the algorithm, and then you get dinged, right? Always follow what Google is saying. If you've been listening to the show, I always say follow what Google is saying versus some of these wannabe experts with no concrete evidence, like just drawing correlations between two events and saying this is causing that, which I highly doubt as having success, and then suddenly getting dinged and getting blacklisted or getting a manual action. You don't want any of those. Like, if you do, you should not be listening to this show. You should be probably paying attention to some of those experts out there, and you're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm being very transparent with you all. Okay, with that, if you're using ChatGPT to write content, make sure you're writing good, helpful content, and you're not writing producing crap out there, right? And people will know if you're producing crap, right? Okay.